Okay, Brian, America's top 10 buyer's markets where you can still land a bargain below the asking price. There are 10 places listed here. But before we get to them, I want to talk really quickly for people who might be watching our channel for the first time. Let's use the article's definition of a buyer's market, because there's some misconception around what defines a buyer's market. To pinpoint a buyer's market, Realtor.com economists searched for metros with a low sale to listing price ratio. This means that areas had homes selling for the lowest price relative to their initial listing price. That's very important. Now, buyer's markets are a product of high inventory levels and often slowing time on market, explains Realtor.com economist Hannah Jones. When buyers have more options, homes sit on the market longer and sellers are more likely to compromise to move a home sale along. So just because it's a buyer's market doesn't mean that prices are lower. It just means that sellers will be more eager to meet buyers halfway by either lowering their asking price or offering concessions such as a mortgage rate buy down to sweeten the deal.
Andy, you can still get a bargain for a house in the Keys.
Okay. So let's immediate hard pivot to the list. So buyer's market, first and foremost, means it doesn't necessarily mean that the prices are lower.
Disclaimer.
It just may mean that the terms and conditions may be more favorable, where the seller doesn't completely have 100% of the deal weighing in their favor, and they need to meet you closer to the middle in order to strike an agreement on what would actually go to escrow. I liken this to the teeter-totter on the playground, where one person is significantly bigger than the other, and they just are sitting on it, and well, you're just stuck up there while they're sitting down on that thing. That's a seller's market. Buyer's market looks more like an evening out of that, if you will. So really briefly here, 3 of these top 10 are from Florida.
Yeah, I noticed that. And I was surprised California wasn't in there, but then again.
No, there's one. So 3 are from Florida. We have 3 of these top 10 are in Tennessee, and there is one in California. Sonora, California came in at number 7.
Sonora.
So there's just one in California. But so let's go in order. So the number 1 quote unquote buyer's market is in Florida. The second one is in Florida.
Key West.
Number 3, Colorado. Number 4, Tennessee. 5, Tennessee. 6, Georgia. 7, California. 8, Tennessee again. 9, Oregon. First Oregon sighting. And number 10, Florida. Here's what's interesting to me. Not noted. Yeah, surprised, not surprised. Not noted is Arizona, Nevada, Texas, Idaho. Remember, Idaho was like, so many people were fleeing to Idaho a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Boise.
Now, here's why I'm saying that is because that is obvious. Yes, it's going to drive prices, but that it just as quickly as it ramped up, it also seems to kind of cool down.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure, just judging, I was like, oh, we're going to see Idaho on here somewhere. We didn't. Which is very curious to me. But maybe that just means Idaho is still going way more stronger than I believed.
Perhaps.
That's obviously what it means in this case. So, what surprised me here? I'm going to just point out the Key West one that you mentioned earlier. So Key West, number 2, median list price is still $1.3 million.
But you see what I mean? If you have that income, dude, that's a good deal.
Buyer's market for $1.3 million, Key West, Florida, everybody. There's a buyer's market. But and then here's the funny, right after that, Breckenridge in Colorado, $1.1 million. So there's another north of $1 million, and those are the only 2 on this list that are north of $1 million for the quote unquote top 10 buyer's markets in the United States right now.
So that's ridiculous, because then you're meaning to tell me like low end, like starter homes, like you're probably like 500 to 600, 700. That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it says it right there in Breckenridge in number 3. It says, Breckenridge has a home base, home achieved. The average home list price rings in about $1.8 million, but it's possible to still find a sweet cabin for less than $500.
Hey! Notice those words that they use: sweet
cabin.
I want to see what that.
Yeah, but Breckenridge is beautiful. if you don't know about Breckenridge,
I don't know. So
no, Breckenridge is beautiful.
To be honest, I've heard maybe like 3 of these
that's fine.
Cities.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. You still have all your hair and you're under your 30s. Breckenridge is a beautiful place, actually. So the fact that you can get a cabin for Breckenridge under $500,000 is awesome.
Oh, okay, then that's what I'm more to my point. Great deals, guys.
Well, and even despite them referencing that you can get a cabin for under $500,000, the median price is still 1.1. 1.1 million. That's nuts. Okay, takeaways here is there are parts of the country where it is looking like it's a buyer's market. It may not be in the market you want to be in, but the reason I picked this article today and wanted to talk to you, Brian, about this is that we have spent a substantial amount of time talking about how people are looking at real estate for the long haul and as an alternative for long-term growth, long-term return, and for making money and having cash flow and having flexibility of travel, movement, and time and of money.
Right.
In this example, I brought this up because of the amount of millennials and millennial-related articles we've talked about recently where people are buying outside of the place they live right now.
Right.
And they work right now, but they're buying a place to Airbnb. They're buying a place to have as a long-term rental. They're having a place to go retreat to. You're having a place they can put on a midterm lease or something. Yeah. And I believe that even in some of these places, this could be a spot. If you're in and around the radius of these cities here on this top 10 list, link in the description box, then this could be a great place for you to pick up your first property. So that's my long point short is you're looking to get in the housing market. You don't really, maybe you can't afford to buy a place in the exact city that you live in right now. But if one of these cities is near you, you might be able to get to a place over here.
And if you didn't know, when you're buying a rental property, you don't need to use your personal income. You're able to utilize the income that is derived from the property. There is products out there like a DSCR loan that will help you basically in the simplest term. If your mortgage payment is covered by the rents, then you have a good chance of that loan being approved. Now, there's a lot of, stipulations and a lot of more details that go into it, but that's the reason why you should be out there, seeing what these properties look like, running your numbers, really calculating everything, because if the numbers make sense, it's not like a traditional residential loan where you have to go through underwriting, fit the box, have the credit, this and that. No, numbers talk. And if the numbers make sense, the risk is mitigated, the bank says, hey, this is a good deal, we will lend on it. You're going to be able to purchase that property, although it is going to take you to put some down payment in. You're going to be able to control that asset and be able to use that as a leverage point for you to do whatever else you want to
do. If you are hearing this for the first time and you heard the acronym DSCR for the first time, it's debt service coverage ratio.
Yeah.
So that's short. So debt service coverage ratio is a loan type called DSCR, where the payment against the property and all the costs associated with owning that property are matched against the market income of that property. And so it is not just you qualifying, it's basically the property qualifying itself to the eyes of the underwriter and the lender.
Yeah.
So in this case, if you are one of these people I'm describing where you're like, oh, I don't live in Greenville, Tennessee, but I live around Greenville, Tennessee, and I can't buy in the place I live, but Greenville's, another county away or within 100 miles, 200 miles away, that might be something to consider.
Yeah, like if you start really looking at the markets that have a lot of, foot traffic, that'll have, people coming in from different areas of the state, that's the type of areas you want to start paying close attention to. See how the business is running, see how much growth is happening in those areas. And if you do see that there is going to be, growth down the line, there's a lot of expansion, business are coming in, people are moving in, then that's, good signs that maybe it's a market that you want to look into, maybe potentially invest in. And like I said, all you need to do is run your numbers, connect with your local lender, reach out to us. We can help you out in all 50 states. But the biggest thing is taking action, but taking action with the right tools.
Yeah, I would say if we're describing you in this little segment of the show, I'd say look for three things. I wrote these down here. Number one, look for migration patterns. Are people moving to this area? That might be a good thing to look at. Number two, are there new businesses or industry moving into that area? Is there a dedicated space of land that's going to be for XYZ purpose, and that will draw to it employees and lots of workers and their families? And then the third thing is tourism. There are some places where they are like they're maybe the tourism was low or there wasn't much of one, and now there's become one. I think that's something to also look at, especially when it comes to short-term rental or even mid-term rental too. So look for migration patterns, look for new business or industry cropping up, and look for tourism opportunities.
Honestly, that last one, the tourism, you literally hit the nail on the head. I feel that right now, with everything happening in the world, people still want to go out and experience. But there's so many stuff that you could do here within the United States that, like, I find myself looking through social media and saying, hey, I didn't know that existed here.
I know.
There's so many places, Andy, and I speak to Michelle about it. Hey, babe, we got to go visit here. We got to go visit here. And they're all here within the United States. And I feel that, after COVID, people really have this yearning for experiences, right?
Yep.
But we also have that bad thought in our head of like, hey, leaving the area, leaving the country sometimes isn't probably the best when everything's happening right now, but people still want to experience. And I feel that in the United States, we have so many little gems and communities, so many little places with so much rich culture, so much to offer, so much experiences, that there's literally like a playground for investors to start, going out and finding these places. But I think it's that taking the time to really just analyze what type of investment you want, the area that you want to hyper focus on, and really just embedding yourself and, owning that space.
Yeah. The United States is so vast.
It is.
And
it really is.
And again, I don't know about each of these little 10 cities that are mentioned.
I don't know half of these cities.
I don't know a lot about them at all.
3/4 of them.
But the takeaway is that if you're looking to get into real estate, there are places where it's considered in this agreement or in this article, they're considered buyer's market, buyer friendly right now. There's probably number 11 through 20, whichever ones those are probably friendly too.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I mean, the top 10 sounds good because it's an easy to make a top 10 list, but I mean, you can probably take a top 50 most friendly places right now, and they're still going to be beneficial to most people that are looking to get a place there.
I know a lot of people travel out to Panama City.
Yeah, in Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
I know. Just recently, I left San Diego to go on a trip. I had a layover in Houston, then I was in Pensacola, then I was in Alabama, and it's like I just hit 4 states, including I was in 4 states, 4 states in 24 hours.
And I think, once you start, I mean, I never traveled outside of the United States, but they do say that, the United States is one of the biggest countries because of, how much land we actually cover as a whole.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to other places, your country's very small. Like, it's like a city size, like,
Some of our states are the size of countries.
Yeah, exactly what I mean, where it's like, you really don't have all these things. We have mountains, we have desert, we got oceans, we got it all. So come on down to the United States, where dreams come true.
There's no one watching out of the country.